Hi, this is episode 44, I hope, of Let's Talk Games. I didn't check, so tell me in the comments. To your left, you have Dan, and to the right, as always, is Jamie, and I am the man in the middle, Uncle Chunt, as your host today. Today, we'll be discussing a lot of, boring industry, stats and stuff like that, so hang around for that excitement. No, it's going to be
Did
good.
you say
Full Xbox today.
stats?
Yeah, I know.
Statman Dan. Statman Dan's
Yeah,
here.
well,
The scores on the
You
doors.
got the stat man over there, and the other guy is doing stocks all weekend, and and I'm just a barely functioning adult. So let's just get into it. So as always, what have we been playing? I've got a couple to start with, just off the bat, just to get rid of it. It's just pretty simple. Animal Crossing, Cyborg Shadow. I think I said it enough times. I should know what it's called. That came out on Game Pass the other day. Loving the shit out of it. It's an old school, like if you think of the old NES Batman, Ninja Gaiden type games, but it's new, made by one guy. I didn't realize until last night. It's amazing. I love it. It's so fun. It's brutally hard, but it's not hard where you want to just rage quit. And there's enough checkpoints and stuff. So you're incentivized to keep trying until you get to the next one. Thoroughly enjoying it, and I gave the medium a go just quickly last night before I headed off to bed. And I think I played an hour of it and got to this title credits after like a good 45-minute opening session. And I think I'm going to keep going with it. I did have the lights off, and I had my headphones on. But man, holy crap! Just before I move out of the Dan on this, I was playing the medium. I already hate horror games. I don't hate them, but I'm a sook, as I've said last week with horror games. I just don't play them. So it's very atmospheric, very moody, and there's a point in the opening sequence where shit starts happening, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm already on the edge of my seat, and I hear this knocking on a window sound, and I was like, god, what is that? And it happened again, and I took my headphones off just to make sure, like, what's going on? And then it knocks again on my window. I'm like, oh fuck! That literally made me jump, and I opened the door, and it's this fucking pizza guy. I didn't order pizza, and he's got like a stack of 4 pizzas, and he's like, oh, is this unit 4? I'm like, no, it's not. It's over there. And shut the door. I'm like, fucking hell. So I kept playing, so I was already on edge, man. So, but I'm enjoying it anyway. So I'll be getting back to that today. And that's my story. That's all I've been playing this week. Dan, over to you.
That's really good. That's a really good story. So we've got 1 week before the Super Bowl, so I've been playing Madden. My basketball team started to win games, so I started playing 2K. I'm not as good as 2K, this one, as the previous one. There's a different feel to it, which I'm enjoying trying to learn. Like, there's still the basics are all there, but there's definitely more going on. And then I played probably an hour of Maneater. So it's enjoyable. It's got a nice little loop in terms of just if you want a game to check things off a list, Maneater's a good game. I thought I'd have an issue. So when I always watch the trailers for Maneater, and you saw like someone playing it with a shark going and just eating people and stuff, I'm like, that just might be a bit too aggressive for me. I don't know how I feel about that, but I was happy that the game existed, and I was like, that's a really cool idea. I just don't know if I could stomach it, so to speak. But I started playing it, and because you're concentrating on all the things around it, that you're not even paying attention that you're just eating people. You're just like, okay, how do I dodge? How do I jump out of the water? How do I use my tail fin to hit the boat? Like, you start focusing on all the actual mechanics that you're not even paying attention to the fact that you're just going around just murdering people on a beach, just jumping out of the water.
You're saying that video games desensitize you to violence?
Or I'm just not paying attention to the violence, and therefore it's fine. But I enjoyed it. I just don't know if I want a checkbox game right now. I think I want a story-driven game, so I think I'll probably give that a pass. But yeah, we heard about the PlayStation Plus games coming for the next month, which has Control in it, which I was really happy about because that is a game I always wanted to play, but I didn't have either the time to play it or the money to play it. and now we get the Ultimate Edition on PlayStation Plus. So I'm like, ooh, that's a really good thing to pop up right now.
Wow, what a full circle on that, where they release the game and you have to pay for the upgrade, and then the backlash, and then it's on PS Plus. Anyway,
something tells me it didn't sell as well as
Go figure. Oh, you're saying something about you're not a fan of eating men. My mind went completely in a different direction, but Jamie, your turn. Go.
I've played a shit ton of Pokemons. Finally getting through Shield. I am 7 badges through. Yeah, I think I said to you guys the other day. Just finished the 7th gym. The random story shit's going on, and it's a fun time. I'm pleased I've got through the barrier that I kept hitting. This is the 4th time I've tried to start playing this game, and I've actually managed to get through it. So it's good. It's good fun. I'm excited for the expansion. Story-wise, not that Pokemon really ever has changed its story. End of the world event, bad team of people, kid saves the world. It deviates a little bit because the kid doesn't save the world. No spoilers or anything intended, but kind of as you're progressing through, the adults just go, oh, this is grown-up shit, we'll go deal with this. You go back to doing that gym challenge, and it's like, that's probably what they should have been getting told all along, but you know, it's just a bit more realistic. So yeah, winning on that front. I played some more Hades. I God knows how far away from like the actual ending of that game, but it's absolutely brilliant still. The story's still amazing. I'm intrigued as to how it's going to pan out as I get through different stages of hell. It's just everybody should play it. Everybody who has access to that game should play it, because of how it deals with its narrative, if anything, and the gameplay is fun. As I've said before, it feels very Diablo cross, like Rogue Legacy. Kind of procedural, but kind of not. I think there is a set limit number of rooms, but it's on kind of a randomized rotator. So, wicked game, Chunt. You'd love it. I think it is your type of like classic-y video game, but with a bit of a modernistic spin and some decent story. Nice. I played a couple of games of FIFA just because I was like, I haven't turned my Xbox on for like 4 weeks, so I played a little bit of FIFA. Got some achievements. Can't let Chunt be getting more achievement points than me in a month. You're still a long way off catching up, but I can't allow that to happen. And yeah, I've actually installed the Medium myself this afternoon. I'm gonna give that a crack this weekend at some point. And I didn't play Genshin Impact, so yay me.
My god!
I got my Animal Crossing Island back for the 4th time. Thank you, Nintendo. And realized within 10 minutes why I stopped playing that game, because realistically, who gives a fuck about a dog coming to play a goddamn ukulele on your island? Like, really? Like, I just don't care enough. So, fun to see all the snow and stuff. Like, but yeah, no further progress there. That is what we've been playing, Chunt.
Nice. And just further on that Medium, it's very Silent Hills. I thought it was like a combat Resident Evil type game, but it's more of a story-driven mystery that you got to solve so far, from what I can tell. And I did a quick check around,
walking and talking.
Yeah, and like, you know, clues and solving puzzles and all that kind of shit. So I was hoping that's what it was going to be. So I'm quite happy with that. It's what I wanted right now. I didn't want an action horror game, so I'm pretty happy about that. Anyway, so all this Xbox news, holy shit! Let's just roll into it. A lot of shit. So you got Bethesda acquisition is now, you know, so very small in comparison to what Microsoft actually earned in a quarter, and then the Game Pass thing, and then the Xbox Live Gold thing. So we're going to hit on all those fronts. So to start with, what I just hinted on, Microsoft made enough profit in the last 3 months to pay for Bethesda's acquisition twice. So Microsoft had their earnings call recently, and all signs are pointing to Bing success. You know, it's just, I was a bit surprised by it, actually. I just, with the Xbox portion of it, which we're going to focus on, not the whole Microsoft thing as a whole, but just some quick points that you need to know about. The gaming revenue itself is up 51%, which, when you consider last generation how Xbox just kind of petered along as like a limping dog, I'm pretty surprised by that, given with the new launch, the new consoles and everything. And Xbox content and services is up 40%, hardware revenue up 86%, which is like,
Wild.
oh, people actually
Makes sense.
buying this. Yeah. And Xbox Game Pass is, driving a lot of those services and improvements and whatnot. The gaming revenue as a whole from Microsoft hit a 5 billion for the first time in the quarter, which the pandemic obviously contributed a lot to that, but it just shows how much people are using it and the power of Game Pass. And a lot of us, I don't know, Jamie, you're still on Game Pass? I don't know.
I am, yeah. I've
but
got Ultimate.
Oh, good, yeah. So I've had it for like the last 3 years or whatever it launched. So I'm not surprised about that. 100 million active users on Xbox Live and 18 million subscribers to Game Pass, which is up nearly 1 million extra subscribers per month for the last however long. So that's all impressive stuff. It just all points to that whole narrative of the Twitterverse is going insane for the last couple of years of just dogpiling on Xbox and how they're failing and they're never going to do any good. They should just get out of the business and all this kind of shit. And you see these earning numbers and stats and all this kind of stuff, and you just have to go, that narrative is dead. Like, that's crazy. And like Satya Nadella and Phil Spencer have also said, yeah, look, we're still going to have a bit of a scarcity of the consoles because AMD's they've informed on further production delays in getting the bits that they need put in these consoles. Same for PS5, which is why there's not so many out there. So you just have to imagine if we had so much more capacity for consoles on shelves, how much better that would be for everybody. But I don't know, like your takeaway from all these, this rolls into the whole Xbox Live Gold thing we'll talk about shortly, but all this initial stuff, like, what's your takeaway for it? For me as an Xbox guy, this makes me feel a bit more comfortable with them spending all the money that they've been doing lately on acquisitions and improving everything and being very customer focused. And Game Pass, the whole conversation of like it's not a money making machine, it's going to fail, all that kind of shit. And this just kind of puts that to bed, to me anyway. But Jamie, as a Game Pass person and who actually uses Xbox services, does this? What's your takeaway for this? Do you feel more confident in the brand, or actually
I
using
bought
it?
stonks in Microsoft.
Oh, very good.
So off the back of that news, I had an investment that returned like double my intake pretty quickly, given the volatility of the world at the moment. And I put literally half of that into Microsoft, half of it into Microsoft, and half of it into Apple. So two companies that are going nowhere, and hopefully only going to get bigger and bigger and more badasser. But yeah, like it does it. I mean, I don't know who needed validity with what's going on over there. I mean, the games are coming. We know they're coming. We don't know how good they're going to be. Chunt, as you were saying, you're enjoying the medium, like stuff like that. If it's working out, great. The more first party stuff, Halo will see probably a big influx. The more consoles they can get out will do the influx. Game Pass, everybody's saying it's not sustainable. I still think there's a question over it, like super long term. But if they're already making back the money that the studios have cost them, then you just have to go into kind of running costs, right? So you start going like, what's our running cost for these studios? And if they're making that much profit kind of hand over fist in a 3-month period, I think the next year is only going to be better for Microsoft. And it's good to see them being successful. It's good to see any company being successful, as long as they're not taking the piss with it, which they're not. They've made some smart investments. They've made some smart moves, and hopefully the proof is in the pudding when we start seeing the games coming from all of these acquisitions, Bethesda included in that. But yeah, happy days for them and happy days for us as gamers.
Yeah, true. So, excuse me. I think the narrative that's been going online with all the critics and media for the last many years now, for the last generation, there was all that air about uncertainty with Xbox going forward, and even going into this new launch, I saw the conversation online of like, just we don't know if this is going to succeed. Xbox should probably just bow out and stuff. And even like me, for a part of it was like, well, without seeing the numbers, because Microsoft have held their numbers pretty quiet for a long time, particularly most of last generation. So you don't really know like where it's going. And I'm pretty invested in this platform. So I want it to stick around. And I know Microsoft, like the what I just rabbled off about the $5 billion in a quarter just for the gaming division. Microsoft as a whole for a quarter had like 42 or 43 billion. So that's just a quarter. So I'm sure, if they really wanted to bolster support for Xbox, they will just put some of that in there. So I don't think Xbox is going anywhere in that regard. But there were talks a few years ago. The leadership was like, well, do we keep going? And so the conversation was there that do we or don't we? And leading into this generation, building the Series X, the name escapes me, the person, but she stood up in a board meeting one day and was like, why don't we just go all in and go big? Go home or nothing, and let's just make a big show of this and come up with something that's going to really make a statement. And everybody's like, yeah.
Was that Nadella?
Okay,
was that the CEO, Satya Nadella?
Oh, he was probably in the chat, but it wasn't him that said it. It was God. Then shit, I can't remember her name at the moment, but I remember hearing about it and I read the story. And I was like, oh yikes, Jesus! Like they obviously were having those talks of like, all right, these are the numbers. What do we do? So let's go out swinging. I guess that might have been the conversation. Let's just put all our balls in the park and let's just go hit one. And then they'll come out the Series X and S and Game Pass and all this kind of stuff, and it seems to be working out. And I'm happy about that. But you can't deny it now. Like Xbox is here to stay, man. Like it's been around long enough. It's one of those now long-time consoles brands. Like, how many generations now? This is the 4th generation Xbox. It's up there, and I'm pretty invested in it, and I hope it sticks around for a lot longer. There's another topic that I thought about introducing in here, but I think it's worth mentioning now that I'm on it. Is the pandemic, everybody bought a shitload of Switches, right? And I just bought, the Kishi as well. Like a lot of remote play and handheld consoles. Xbox did actually have conversations. Phil Spencer was a part of them. The guy before him kept poo-pooing the idea of an Xbox handheld, but that was actually happened like 3 times. It was brought up in company meetings, like, let's do an Xbox handheld. So all those rumors that you heard about years ago of an X-boy, and that was actually a term that kept getting brought up in meetings, and that could have happened. And I want one, but now I kind of do. I'd like a dedicated one, but the game streaming works so well now that's opening up with Game Pass and everything. It's just expanded the brand as a whole. I can't wait to see what they're going to do next. Like, would they bring out an actual dedicated piece of hardware, like, even though you can use your phone? But I don't know. This is all part of the whole Microsoft conversation that they had at the board meeting and stuff. There's so much to read into it. I couldn't even put all the notes in it for today. But Dan, as the outsider, technical outsider on all this for Xbox, I don't know what your stance is on all this, but does it bear any mind for you on all this information?
I think it's like they're good numbers. I don't think anyone reads it and goes, "Oh, Microsoft's in trouble. I don't know what they're going to do with Xbox." The fact, like, the Game Pass subscribers going from 15 to 18. I think HBO Max and Xbox Game Pass are pretty much locked in step with each other right now. I think HBO Max over in the States has 17.2 million or something. But I guess these are worldwide numbers. So they probably want to get that up a bit. They to really have it succeeding like to its fullest potential, you'd want to probably double those numbers, I'm assuming. Just as you said, like the revenue that they have is ridiculous amount. Like I don't even know what 43.1 billion looks like. Like I couldn't show you a picture of 43.1 billion. But I guess that's revenue, and like they talk in revenue because they also don't put out the expenses in that. They did say this is the most successful launch of all time for Xbox, which obviously, once again, that's a good thing. But I'm guessing the best launch they had would have been the 360. Yeah, I would assume.
That was pretty good, but it was also could have been a lot better too if they didn't have the red ring. I hate to bring that up, but if that didn't happen, you can only imagine how much more successful that would have been. I just had a point. Sorry.
Go for it.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool. I just wanted to say, like, the other conversation about how Xbox going to make their money back on that Bethesda acquisition. This also basically says we've done it already, and they're ready to do another one, which a couple of insiders have already been hinting online that they're already planning on doing another Bethesda style or size acquisition as well. So I wanted to bring that up. Probably let's just do it now. I wanted to bring that up now about who would you think that you guys would put forward as to who that would be. Like Sega's always in the conversation, but I don't think Sega would be that kind of Bethesda level acquisition. Like clearly they're not done. Like they've got money coming in hand over fist in this gaming division. Clearly, like it's working for them. There's money there, and they're investing heavily. So, Dan, I'll go back to you first. There, were there any kind of studios or publishers that you could think of at the moment, off the top of your head, that would be at that level that would even think would be in position to be purchased?
Okay, well, with that, so for one, I don't think they have made their money back, just because they're talking about revenue, not profit, which is a different thing. So, it's going to be a little while for it. But if you're talking about another company to bring in that is of Bethesda, when I think of the Bethesda deal, the thing that is different is that Bethesda is also a publishing arm.
Yeah.
Like it's the set. Like when the Machine Games Indiana Jones thing was announced, it was announced that Bethesda is publishing a Indiana Jones game made by Machine Games. Like Xbox wasn't even mentioned within that. So when I think of a purchase like that, you have to think of a publisher. So that's when I think of, say, Square. They obviously just got hit hard with Avengers.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think maybe someone a little bit smaller, but that's what you have to be thinking of. I feel you have to be thinking of someone that already has their own publishing arm, because Xbox want to become a platform where just everybody puts their games and everybody subscribes to it and plays games there. So they don't care if Bethesda are publishing their own games and taking care of their own set of studios over here, because it's just going to be on their platform and they can still sell it as Bethesda, everything like that. So I think you have to think of publishers if that's what they're going after, if that's what they're going to go after as well. So I'd say Square from the top of my head.
Jamie, back to you. Any one top of mind that you could think of that might be added?
Dan's right. Square makes logical sense, just because of all the murmurings around Japan as well. They want to get involved in the Japanese market where, Square are biggest. Sega's an option as well. We've discussed that before. Probably wouldn't cost them as much as Square. I mean, I'm not sure what properties Sega have that are of any real, power in this day and age. Yeah, Sonic exists. The Nintendo not own the rights to Sonic now.
Is that Sega? Is Yakuza part of Sega?
Yakuza is part of Sega, yeah, but I'm pretty sure Sonic is he's back with them now, right? He's not a Nintendo character or something stupid like that. So yeah, they've options, but it's then what do they bring? Do they come over just as Dan said, as a publisher? And that means that the deals that they have with the likes of Atlas and what are the other guys called? Platinum, like they do a lot of stuff with Sega as well, don't they? As a publisher, like do those guys then create games that are published by Sega and automatically go to Game Pass because they're owned by Microsoft or something along those lines? So I can't think of anybody other than those two. You're not going to get a Ubisoft or an EA or something stupid like that. There's a lot of rumors going around at the minute that EA and Take-Two are going to be purchased by Tencent. So,
Jesus,
we'll see. But yeah, I can't think of anybody other than those guys. A Japanese entity makes sense to me.
100%. I do hope for that too. I do hope they do introduce that other language into their portfolio. I would love to see it. Some more variety on their Game Pass. And there's a lot of Japanese games that I just don't play because, I don't want to put the money in it because I'm not too invested in Japanese type games, like a lot of the RPGs and anime stuff. But, if it's
There's the guy who finished 3 fucking Yakuza games in, there's many weeks.
It was Yakuza 0. And, it's not quite anime, but I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but it's not like Persona. Like I'm not too invested in that kind of anime thing. I'm as anime as Dragon Ball gets, like, and that's about it, you know. But look, it's all exciting. But I do agree, a Japanese arm would be fantastic. I just remember the 360 days
and you also
I brought up of like Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon. Like, I want that kind of shit back. Sorry, Dan.
well, you also got to think when these companies are purchased, they want to purchase them essentially as the lowest that they can get them, right? Like Bethesda, the last few games Bethesda came off was like Fallout 76 and Evil Within. Wolfenstein did all right for them, but you want to get them essentially at their lowest. And I was thinking like maybe Capcom, but Capcom, with every Resident Evil game, they've been making absolute bank off those franchises, so they're only going to be going up in price. So yeah, they would essentially be wanting to get people essentially as low as you can get them, which I think after the Avengers fiasco, like this is as low as Square has been for some time.
Yeah.
If it is Square though, just throwing a hypothesis in the way, what do you do with Avengers?
Well, they are just announcing more content that's to do with the Hulk and Maestro Hulk or World War Hulk or whatever it is coming out. That's after that, whatever her name is, Archer and Black Panther content. They've got planned there, but
I've not even seen this.
Yeah.
Is this even mainstream news? Like, or is it just, have you got to go to like
Yeah.
the bottom rungs of the internet to find this shit out these days?
I went around the other day. Where are we? Marvel's Avengers.
I think like most live service games, you get a second chance at it at some point. You do like a mini relaunch, and because they obviously have content in the pipeline. They're just trying to fix the game at the same time. Not fix the game like, you know, some other recent games that have come out, like Cyberpunk. But they get a mini relaunch out of all this, and they have enough characters that people love for people to come back. So they're in a different position to a lot of live service games.
That's what we were talking about the other week about that, when we, like, as I coined it, like they get their Taken King. They need a Taken King moment, because so do a lot of these type of games. But I for one hope that Avengers does get there. I hope it does hit that thing where it's like, right, gameplay loop's now solid, which means we can focus on the story content, which means we can tell these stories in a comic book form and do what this was supposed to do. It was rushed out, man. Like, we all know that. But
yeah, big time.
Interesting factoids. What's next on your docket, Mr. Chunt?
It's still $99 online, by the way. I'm not playing that shit. But
Fuck
yeah,
that noise.
this rolls into the conversation you guys were just having there about these games that require online, and some of those multiplayer games that are free to play. This whole Xbox Live Gold issue that happened just recently is worth talking about. There's some points here that I haven't covered elsewhere, so I want to have the conversation with you two about this. So we all know what happened. Just randomly, like, ripping off a band-aid of like, no, we're increasing the price now. Xbox Live Gold, lol, buy. We're basically saying not only are they increasing the price on it, but they removed the 12-month subscription, which they did like last year anyway. But it was a 6-month one that got the increase, and if you wanted a year, it was going to be double that. So it was essentially double the price for the year. And everybody was like, what the actual fuck is this? And everybody went nuts. And for a good 12 or 16 hours, it was just like barrage, why? This is crap, bad, poo to you. And, with all these years of customer-focused thinking and moves and, making the player first and all that kind of conversation that they do and giving us all this stuff. And it's just, it took the one mistake to make everybody explode. But, we all know what happened. They backflipped on it. They said, no, all right, cool. Yeah, we made the mistake. Our bad. We're going to reverse that. And we're also going to make multiplayer for free-to-play games free. So you no longer need a Xbox Live Gold subscription to play free games online. So that's, your Fortnites, your Destinies and all that kind of stuff is now free to play. So you two saw that happen. What's your takeaway for it, and what do you see like optics going forward on this? Like how this rolls into Game Pass? Will Game Pass wear the brunt of that? Like we've just made the point that they've got 18 million subscribers at the moment, but if they go, all right, we couldn't make that extra money with gold, let's just try and roll this extra into Game Pass for some reason. Like Jamie, I'll start off with you. Like, do you have your initial thoughts on this and how you see it going forward?
I mean, I think the whole strategy, if we're talking business level, was to make gold less appealing and Game Pass more appealing. You look at it and you go, may as well pay the extra couple of pounds, bucks, fucking dingo dollars. I don't know, whatever you want to call them. Monies. That's the term we settled on a while back. Yeah, so
Yeah.
a couple of more monies a month, and you get not just everything that's in gold, but you get, you know, the access to Game Pass and the library that comes there and the first party Microsoft games, and make that seem more appealing. But the way to do it was not to increase the price of your offering for the budget option. They quickly realized they'd shot themselves in the foot. They quickly backtracked on it. And as we've spoke about already, they don't need the money. It was never about the money. It was a strategic play to try and gradually continue the phasing out of gold. It's going to go away at some point. Your option is just going to be Game Pass, and that's it. If you're not invested in Game Pass, then you're playing the free to play shit, and good on you. Fair enough. You've bought your console. Have at it. I'll be interested to see what does get rolled into Game Pass. I have noticed myself, and Chunt, I don't know if you have, the focus across their social and across even their own kind of game channel. So like if you think about the actual social feed inside of Xbox and stuff, is now getting focused on Game Pass quest points and stuff as opposed to achievements. And it's like, you're moving into like this being your main thing, and that's fine because it will be the service that makes them the bank. So fair dues, but yeah, it was just a misstep, and it was a very minor misstep compared to some. Yeah, they're getting rid of the 12-month stuff. They did that last year. Like, people will have noticed if you buy 6 months of Game Pass, you do not get this. Sorry, of gold. It is more expensive than it once was. That's not something that's new to this scenario. So, I'd just implore anybody that's. I mean, I know obviously we're in difficult times and people don't have the luxury of spending all of this money, but what's a month of gold? A month of gold's $6.99 or something, right? If we think American money, is it $6.99, $5.99, somewhere around there? Game Pass is $9.99. It's an extra cup of coffee a month, gets you the full experience, and it's like it's really a no-brainer, and it's still an absolute steal in terms of entertainment. Like, the amount of content that you get for that price is wild. It's the best deal, not only in games but in entertainment. When I look at what Netflix costs me, at what even Disney Plus, all of that stuff, like, yeah, all right, Game Pass falls somewhere in the middle of what those costs are. It's around about half but the hours of entertainment, if you want it, and it's rotating, there's new stuff being added, old stuff comes away, you know, classic stuff gets added. Cut them some slack. And I don't say that as somebody who obviously is invested in their ecosystem, but as you can see by the collection back there, I'm invested in all ecosystems. So yeah, chew on that. Dan, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of over exaggeration from the community. Like, yeah, you know, I get why they did it. I don't think it really matters all that much in the end. Like, they were raising it by what, $1 or something for the 1 month and $5 for the 6 months or something like that. But you know, I think it's because the reason is with Game Pass, no one understands how it works on the back end, and therefore everyone is just waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, everyone is being like, something's going to happen one day, and they're going to lock us all in, and then something's going to drop, and we're all going to be fucked. And I think people are just waiting for that moment. Some people either worryingly for themselves, or people that are just shit cunts and just hating for no apparent reason. So I think they're worried about how this all works on the back end. But yeah, I think in that also, I'm reading the Biz article, and yeah, they're saying that so Xbox Live has 100 million monthly subscribers. So
Yep.
I think that's why they can't just get rid of it yet, because if you compare that to Game Pass, and there's 18 million, like there's 82 million people out there that aren't using Game Pass and they're sticking to their Xbox Live subscriptions. And I think that's why they want to get those Game Pass numbers up so they can phase out without having to lose all of that, revenue, which we've been talking about today. And I think that's the thing. I think, talking about deals, and I'll include PlayStation Plus in here as well, but these deals with these games, I do not play online pretty much at all.
Yeah.
But just by getting free games out of Xbox Live, it literally pays for itself. Like,
yep.
I'll just do it because I didn't check the Xbox Live games for this month. I think Gears 5 was one of the games that was on it. But like the fact that I can get Concrete Genie and Control this month, and I had Tomb Raider and Maneater last month, and I paid $80 in May last year. It's literally paid for itself within 2 months. And you've got all the other ones. If you do play them, you don't play them, whatever. Just the fact that we get these games. And I mean, I do miss the days of PlayStation 3, like not paying for online shit. and it was just free to go and use what you wanted to use. But obviously things change. But
it's funny you mentioned that.
Bad deals.
No, like it's funny you mentioned that. Like last night, I shared that link to you guys that there's still people playing PS3 out there, like in vast quantities enough that you can jump into multiplayer games and you can get a room with people. And this guy I watched, he asked him, like, why are you still playing here? Yeah, yeah. And he asked him, like, why are you still playing here? It's like, well, I don't have to pay for it. It's free to play. And it makes sense, right? Because now we all have to. But as you were touching on the games for February, for Games with Gold, it's Gears 5, yeah. And then you've got some other game, I got no idea, Dandara, whatever it's called. Lost Planet 2. What was the other one? Resident Evil remake, the first one. And I can't remember what the fifth one was, but there's 5 games on there. And they're free to play, to download. But Game Pass itself, like we just talked about at the top of the show, Cyborg Shadow and The Medium came out within a day or two of each other. And I didn't have to pay for those. And the Yakuza games are all on there now. There's 5 or 6 games that I can play that I don't have to play. So I've saved like almost $1,000, just in the last 6 months or whatever that, when these games are coming out. So I don't see why people, like Jamie just said, it's a stupid good deal. Like, why don't you just pay the extra $4 or $5 a month? I'm quite happy to do so, and I've been doing that for the last 3 years or whatever. But can I
interject for one moment? Chunt, what are you doing
Yes.
immediately after this podcast finishes?
I hadn't thought about that.
Good. You play a couple of missions of Halo with me.
Oh yeah,
not Halo, Gears. You were just talking about Gears. Where the fuck did Halo come from?
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, okay. Yeah, go on down for that.
Sorry, continue.
I not forgot it. You ruined
Derailed. Derailed the whole thing.
If they said we're getting rid of Xbox Live tomorrow, but the price for Ultimate is going to go from 15 to 25.
Ooh.
Well, would you care?
Yes, because Gold's rolled into Ultimate at the moment.
Yeah, like why? There's no reason.
That's completely illogical. But like Gold is part of Game Pass, so it's like you get all of the Gold benefits plus the Ultimate benefits and the Game Pass benefits. Even if you just get normal Game Pass, it's got Gold. So yeah, it wouldn't. That'd be a very bizarre. They'd cause 10 times the fucking uproar that they caused last week if they did that.
Yeah, it's a bit different from $1 or $5 increase to $10 or $15.
I just wonder, because if they're trying to get all those rest of the Xbox Live subscribers and they're trying to get them onto Ultimate, and therefore they just didn't want to get rid of Live and put it in. I don't know.
You make your.
It's interesting that announcement. It's interesting that announcement was like 3 days or 2 days before their investor call. Like, I wonder if they were going to do that in a way to say, we have this many subscribers and we believe with this increase, our revenue will go from this to this in the next quarter or the next. Like, there's a reason why it was done when it was done.
Yeah, if they want more subscribers to Game Pass, increasing it by $5 or $10 isn't going to do that.
No.
You know, considering like Jamie said, gold's already in there. But you'd lose subscribers. Like even I would probably be like, "Ooh, shit."
Yep. If that went up to 25 a month, I'd hard bail out, or I'd drop it down to
20. Where's your limit?
About where it is, I think.
Yeah.
I could maybe see it getting to like $18.99 or something like that, and be like, I'm still just okay with that. But yeah, 20. You're like, when I think about what's the most expensive subscription I have, I think the most expensive subscription I have is Apple One. No, Apple One is, so that's the family music subscription, 2 terabytes of cloud storage, the arcade, the fitness, the news app, and Apple TV is all it's 30 a month, and that's access for my entire Apple family. So like I use it, my wife uses it, my mate over here uses it, and my sister-in-law uses it.
My baby uses it.
Baby fucking Will uses it.
He loves apples.
But there's that's what I mean. It's like when you think about value for money, they're giving me 6 services for £30 a month. If Game Pass was giving me 1 service for 25, like you said, or even 20, it's like that's difficult to swallow in terms of what I get out of it. Like 2 terabytes of cloud storage is worth fucking 15 a month. Even if you look at Google or what, I don't know what OneDrive is, Chunt, you probably use that because it's a Microsoft product, but like I think that's the future of what companies are going to be doing. They're going to start packaging their services into one, and that Xbox are doing the same thing. Gold, Game Pass. It's like, right, these are different things, but let's package them together. Game Pass Ultimate, package everything together. Even the Xbox One, what did they call it? Xbox All Access, was that what it was called?
Yeah.
Where it's like you get your machine, you get your subscription. It's for 2 years. It costs you this a month. Like super good value for money, and that's just the way that the world is going. We're all just going to be paying a shit ton of subscriptions, but we're not going to have any entry cost. I actually think companies like Apple and Google and all of that, they're going to go the same route. You will not buy an iPhone. You will just get a new iPhone on your Apple upgrade plan. You will not buy a new Google phone. You will just have a Google All Access type thing where you get a phone, you get their Chromecast, you get their devices because you're constantly paying for their services. And I don't think video games are exempt from that, unless you're Sony and Nintendo, because, you know, they're both just weirdly stuck in the dark ages when it comes to catching up with the future.
Yeah, like Nintendo Online is shithouse, but it's cheap.
It's fucking awful. It's really bad.
Yeah, but yeah, look, if they do increase the price of Game Pass, I'll be hitting up my brother to go in. He's been, you know, being a backpack to my subscription for a while. Just like he bought an Xbox and instantly got like 300 games from my digital library in Game Pass. You know, he's laughing for free.
I keep saying the same thing to the people about Netflix, because I'm the Netflix payer in this family, and it's like, if this goes up much more, you're fucking chipping in. Like,
yeah, just let me know, Jamie.
Oh yeah, you use mine as well. I forgot you were even using it, but no, it's like they do. I think Netflix, for example, has doubled. Netflix has doubled in price since I took my. You know, they have the 4K subscription that basically lets you have 4 screens and UHD.
Yeah,
and it's like that started at like $7.99 a month, and I'm pretty sure it is now 14. Like it's $13.99 a month, so it's doubled since they launched that. But I don't mind because we watch it all the fucking time. It's so worth it. Like, it is a good deal. Like, especially when so many people can use your. I think that the reason they keep putting people's prices up is because so many people share accounts. It's like you can have 4 profiles, so divide that £13 between 4 people, and you're paying fuck all for the amount that it gets used, right? But,
it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Anyway, off of streaming services, and what's next, Chunt? We've been right financiers in today's episode. We've been very in the money.
It's one of those adult
driven.
Yeah, one of those adult conversations you have to have eventually. But how are you on for time? I think we're kind of running a bit long, aren't we?
Nah, 45. Got 15 minutes.
45 now?
Yep.
Got 15? Oh. Cool. Well, I don't really want to talk about this last topic because I just double-checked where you guys are talking on it, and it's been debunked, so got to drop that one.
What was it?
It was more to do. I was going to talk about that Avengers thing that I brought up earlier because it was all part and parcel of my notes here about services and free-to-play games and the Avengers announcement of this new content. And I was like, oh, wow, that sounds exciting. I want to bring that up. And yeah, no, it's not happening. The whole plan about a big Planet Hulk event with different Hulks from his history and from his future of like Maestro, which is like the Hulk from a far off future where he's just super powerful and old, and World War Hulk where he's like the king of Planet Hulk. He eventually calls it when he takes it over, which is like Thor Ragnarok. Was that they adapted it into that somehow? It's all that kind of stuff, and that was going to happen after the Black Panther expansion and stuff. And now that's debunked seemingly. So
I don't even think we see this rumored Black Panther expansion until the year anniversary. I think there's very little coming between now and September.
It looks like shit though, man. Have you seen the costume for it?
What's that? Which costume?
For Black Panther.
I haven't, no.
It looks like trash. Like if you look at Captain America, how bad he looks in that game. Just imagine that, but Black Panther, it's kind of the same deal. Looks like trash.
I will look into.
Yeah, but yeah, that was the other topic I was going to talk about.
Well, I can fill you one in with the
go.
What's going down with the continuing theme that we've spoke about for the last 2 weeks. Nintendo doing their Switch Pro. They just announced another special edition console. Does this make you think that that is inevitably actually happening, or they're just going, nah, we're doubling down on what we got, baby. We'll make more money that way?
Yeah, I think they'll put it off for another year, actually. I reckon. It would not surprise me if we don't hear anything this year for a new Switch.
I mean,
like they're selling...
Go ahead.
They're selling Switches now. Like they're in the same problem as freaking PlayStation 5 and Series X are, where and those are new consoles. Yeah, they can't make them quick enough, and this is a console that's almost 4 years old at this point. And you know, as things go on, pieces of the parts of the console get cheaper, and therefore they get more money out of it. So. I agree. It's probably going to be another year.
A Switch Nintendo having production issues, or
they've been having them the whole way through the pandemic. Like, it's been wild.
Oh, like that.
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking more of like AMD, where they're just like, yeah, we just can't produce our AMD parts fast enough.
Well, Nvidia can't produce their parts quick enough either, as you can see with their graphics cards. Like, you still can't buy a 30 series graphics card, and they came out in October.
Oh wow!
So they're struggling production-wise as well. I think everybody's still got quite a backlog, but I'm still firmly in the camp of this iteration of the Switch will continue for a good while. I think it's got a year or two left in it, and if we get the mid-gen refresh, it's going to be a dock. It's going to be something that enhances what we already have, as opposed to something that's its own standalone thing. Which I'm all for.
With Nintendo games, like Nintendo games don't need to be more prettier than they are, for their art style. Like they don't need Series X level PS5 friggin' power beneath it just to render Mario's overalls.
Yeah, but they do need to not look jaggy as all fuck on modern TVs, which is the problem that they're running into.
Well, it's not even that. It's about keeping the third parties on the platform. If you lose a third party, it's like the same thing happened with Wii U, right? Like no third parties was going there, therefore people weren't getting a Switch because they couldn't play everything there. So,
and their interim solution for that is that cloud streaming thing. So at the moment, like, and Chunt actually do this because it's wild and terrible. If you go onto the eShop, you can download Control, and it's a streamed version of Control. It streams the game to your Switch, and it is terrible. Like, just try it in handheld. Just download it and try it in handheld mode to go, wow. Like, Nintendo of all people trying to do a cloud streaming service baked into their handheld. Nah, they can't figure out normal online, let alone bloody game stream.
Yeah,
like, come on.
Their eShop alone is chugging to actually get through content to look at.
It's pretty jank.
What's on the store. Yeah, it's crap. But I mean, they've already released a few games that are streaming versions in Japan, like Resident Evil. I think Resident Evil 7. They did that as well.
Yeah, I think for those bigger games that are going to push the console to its limits, I think they're going to go the streaming route for those bigger games, and then just have everything else.
Which is fair if it works. Like, look at
if it works,
the success that Cyberpunk had with Stadia. Like, everybody's saying one of the most stable versions of Cyberpunk was actually on Stadia. It was one of the best looking and one of the most stable. And it's like, right, if Nintendo can get to that level of stability with these games, then wicked. Like, it would just be like, Chunt, you playing your Kishi with your phone as an Xbox game. But yeah, Nintendo are the last people on planet Earth I back to make a streaming service.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm in the beta for Australia Game Pass. The streaming, nothing to do with remote play or console streaming, just actual Game Pass streaming. And it works surprisingly well. I'm very, very surprised. Just on 4G, it works just fine. So, I mean, yeah, that'd be a logical step for Nintendo to make, but maybe they'll have to get buddy-buddy with Microsoft even more, like Sony is. Like Sony are
maybe Microsoft are going to try and buy them again.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, God, that story went around.
You are also in Brisbane. You are in a city. I'd be curious if you went out to Rocky or somewhere and
I took it to Newcastle.
That's not a remote city. Newcastle's the biggest tech hub in Australia. Like, come off it. Like, it's the booming tech capital of Australia, mate. Don't give me that shit.
Still, I mean, I had 2 bars on 4G. You know, it still worked all right.
But bring it down to Warragul.
Yeah.
Bring it down to Warragul, see what happens.
Yeah, no worries. I'll tell my boss, like, look, I can't come to work this week. I've got to go to remote locations to test get Game Pass, you know.
Hopefully you'll get a chance to do that later this year. You guys are all right. The world seems to be back to normal for you. I've been seeing pictures of people fucking having boat parties and all kinds of shit. Yet we're over here trapped inside and can't even go play in the snow.
Yeah, and you're on an island smaller than Australia too. It must be very claustrophobic.
Not really. I actually am on a very tiny island. Shouldn't come visit my island.
Oh yeah.
Get your dodo plane out.
Yeah.
Dodo
I'll be on
Airways.
right now. Well, yeah, cool. Well, I'm done. I don't have anything else to talk about. So I'm actually keen to hook into some Gears 5 while you're still awake, Jamie, and my day hasn't even begun.
That is the thing. I'm probably going to be awake for like an hour, so let's go do an hour of that. Dan, you're welcome to join us if you still have it installed on your PC and you don't have life to do.
No, it's not installed anymore. It's gone. But nah, life to do. Actually, I've got a day to myself today because the missus is going out wedding dress shopping. So
nice.
I have the house to myself.
Fantastic. Pants off.
You have no idea.
Tent up.
Tent up. Holy shit.
Enjoy your alone time, Dan.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Wash your fucking hands afterwards.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, go have a